Alright, it's me, Low Power once again. I'm gonna talk today about the 5 greatest teams to never win NBA championship. And actually, trying to think, these teams, most of these teams never actually won one in their whole history of their team. But it's basically just individual teams or teams that played a couple years. It's basically the same team that didn't win. So number 5, I'm gonna go with the Seattle Supersonics, 1996 Seattle Supersonics. They had, Gary Payton, Sean Kemp, they had Sam Perkins, they had Detlef Shrimp, and Detlef Shrimp was a great player. They had great guy on the offensive end of the ball. They were a great team. Gary Payton at the time was the best two-way player in the league, even better than Jordan. When I say he wasn't better than Jordan all around, what I'm saying is that his offense and his defense. His defense was the best. He was the best perimeter defender at the time, even better than Jordan. Jordan, when he came off his retirement, his first retirement, his defense fell off some. His offense still stayed just as great, but his defense fell off some. So he was a little older, and he lost a step. So Gary Payton made it hard on Jordan during those finals. Jordan had to work very hard to get those 30-some-odd points a game, and he was actually shooting, I think, like 41% from the field for Michael Jordan. That's pretty bad. And Sean Kemp was a beast. Man, this guy's the greatest. Well, one of the greatest in-game dunkers in the world, man. This guy dunks on everybody and anybody. So he was a beast, and nobody in Chicago could stop him. Even Dennis Rodman couldn't do anything with him. But they had a weakness. Their weakness was they weren't they were small. They weren't a big team, big, strong, tough team on the defensive end and down low. Their front court wasn't intimidating. So that was the biggest problem, because to win a championship, you really got to be tough from 3 to 5. 3 to 5, you got to be tough. You got to be tough down there, or more than likely you won't win. So, especially against a team like the Bulls, where you got great players like Michael Jordan, Tony Kukoc, and Scottie Pippen. So that's my number 5 team. My number 4 team is Sacramento Kings. This team probably played the best team ball on the offensive side of the court that I've seen since probably the Celtics and Lakers back in the 80s. These guys, their team basketball was phenomenal. They had great players. They had a superstar, Chris Webber, 24-10 guy, and 3 or 4 assists. The guy had the best hands, one of the best passing big men, best passing power forward at the time, best passing big man in the league at the time. Great player. They had Mike Bibby, who was kind of like a Tony Parker at the time. You had Bobby Jackson, was kind of like a Vinnie Johnson coming off the bench. They had Peja Stojakovic, who was shooting like Larry Bird at the time. Believe it or not, this guy, this guy, it's crazy to see what happens to guys after they reach the pinnacle, but they choke, don't get over that pinnacle. Peja ain't half the player he used to be. Vlade Divac and Doug Christie were good glue guys who did the little things that needed to be done. This team probably should have even beat that Laker team, but they choked. In the game 7, they missed so many free throws. The only guy who brought his heart was Mike Bibby. I actually got cheated in that game 6, man. That was just too much. Even though I'm a Laker fan at the time, a Shaq fan, I'm glad they won, but one for a lucky shot by Robert Horry, Sacramento would have them the championship. The Sacramento team was so good, it would beat a lot of these teams that have won championships. The Miami team, a couple of these San Antonio teams, last couple of San Antonio teams, the Piston team that won 2004. That Sacramento team was that good. It would have beat all those teams. So that's my number 4. Number 3, Utah Jazz. Gotta go with Utah Jazz just because they went 2 straight years in a row. They had 2 of the best players that ever played their positions. John Stockton at the point guard, Karl Malone at the power forward was an amazing player. They were a tough team, played good, tough defense, had a great coach. That team, the problem was they ran up against a better team with a better player, and that's Michael Jordan and the Chicago Bulls, and a better coach. Well, you can say Jerry Sloan a better coach, but that team, if we played any other years, would have won them a championship. If they didn't go against Michael Jordan, they would have won a championship. So there you got them. The number 2 team of the 5 greatest teams that won the championship, one of my favorite teams of all time, the Orlando Magic. The Orlando Magic from '95 and '96, both teams. I count them as one team. They should have won a championship. I don't know. They might have went to the Eastern Conference Finals 3 years in a row. I'm gonna check that out. I think they only lost to the Bulls that one time in the playoffs. It might have been twice. But they were the last team to beat the Bulls in the playoffs with Michael Jordan. And after they won they beat them in the Eastern Conference Finals. Shaq stole the ball, Dunk won the game from Pippen and stuff. After they won that game, they threw a parade. They had already won the championship. So, and then they didn't think they were going to have a fight against the Houston Rockets. And that's poor management, poor coaching and stuff. So anyway, and so they got swept by the Houston Rockets. They were in the first game, had the game won. Nick Anderson choked the game away. Man, they would have won that game. I believe it would have changed the way, being a young team, the way they thought, because they know they gave their game away. And for some reason, Shaq teams, when they give away the first game, it like messes up the whole series. So maybe I got something to do with his leadership. But anyway, that team was great, amazing team. Penny Hardaway was amazing, man. People forget about how good Penny Hardaway was. People talking about Shaq's sidekicks, Penny, Kobe, and Dwayne Wade. They always talk about Kobe 1, Wade 2, then Penny. But people forget how good Hardaway was, man. Hardaway really, I wouldn't say Kobe was was that clear cut of a better player than Penny Hardaway. Penny was a point guard at 6'7". He did everything great. He really had no flaw in his game, maybe defensively, but the problem was Brian Hill didn't ask him to play defense. Yeah, Shaq was dominant, always been dominant. They had a great 5 with Scott, 3-point bomber, and also with Nick Anderson. But like I said, he messed up, when he choked. And the next year they got beat by 72-10 Chicago Bulls team. They would have won against Seattle that year. I think they would even beat Seattle. They would have won the championship, and they should have did better against Houston Rockets. Number 1, I'm gonna go with the Portland Trail Blazers and lost to the LA Lakers. 99-2000 Western Conference Finals, man. That team was the deepest team I've ever seen in my life. Even the teams that won championships. The only team I'll say was deeper probably was that Piston team that won 2 straight championships. But they had Detlef Schrempf, they had, who was a great player. Steve Smith was a great player. Rasheed Wallace at his best, motivated, staying down low. A great player. Arvidas Sabonis, one of the greatest players to ever play the game, period. He won at his best, but he still was great. Damon Stoudemire was a top flight guard at the time, before all that weed smoking got to him. Great team. They just ran to the Lakers, and they just didn't have a guy with enough heart to take them through. They ran into a Shaquille O'Neal that was motivated, and Kobe Bryant that played together. So those are the best 5 teams I've seen ever win. Number 1, Portland Trail Blazers. Number 2, Orlando Magic. Number 3, Utah Jazz. Number 4, Sacramento Kings. Number 5, Seattle Supersonics. All right, peace.